This is H. Grant Troop, Mid-Atlantic reporter for Ag Reports Network. We're at the Prairieville Farm in Maryland, and we're at the loading station, loading the planter up with liquid fertilizer, which is placed on the planter to be delivered through a Keaton seed firmer as a pop-up. And we also have dry fertilizer boxes on the planter. We dribble a combination of Super U and ammonium sulfate over the row with drop tubes in the fertilizer boxes. So we're now tendering the planter, getting it ready for tomorrow to continue in the planting season. That would be Ken Scott, planter operator, and does a lot of the planting for us, both fall and spring. And excellent. Burnt down a couple weeks ago. Garmoxone and some Guardsman Max to give us some early pre-emergent control. Rye was roughly 24 to 29 inches tall when it was burnt down, and just about ready for the heads to emerge from the boot. We try to get it at that optimum quality time and have plenty of strawy material, lignified straw, so that by midsummer, when it generally does get quite hot and dry in this area, we have a good heavy mulch in the soil to conserve moisture and to feed that crop when we're trying to get some grain fill and pod fill in beans. Generally run a 2-year rotation on this farm, 2 years corn, 1 year beans, and follow every crop with a cereal rye cover crop. Get a good nitrogen source on it, stable, and put on the surface in no-till, and also the ammonium sulfate to try to supply some sulfur. These soils in this particular location have been testing low in sulfur, so we're trying to address the sulfur needs. This evening, June 1st, jumping ahead there a little bit, looking at some corn that we had a problem with, sort of in a way, but it's demonstrating the value perhaps of some in-furrow place fertilizer. The row here that we're looking at on the right received about 146 pounds of a Super U ammonium sulfate mix and a 50-50 mix. It also had an in-seed furrow treatment based on 1034O, a little KTS in there, some extra power, and Bioforge and Chelate zinc from Stoller, those 3 products. And you can see that corn's running somewhere 2.5–3 inches taller than the corn on the right, and it goes right across this first set of rows, the height difference, and then once you get to this break, all the rows to the right again are much taller. And the only difference is the rows on the left did not have that in-seed furrow treatment of liquid starter, and at this point the color's not as good, the height isn't as good, the plants are not near as growthy. So it'll be interesting to see how this takes us into harvest time, whether we have a bushels per acre difference, but at this point there's certainly a growth difference in the treatments. Some of the things done a little bit differently this year, perhaps to try to improve nutrient use efficiency. One has been to get that in-furrow starter, that pop-up type treatment, and we're running the limit on that. Also dribbling that dry fertilizer over the row, trying to get some things we're looking at there for perhaps some pest management, along with getting some nitrogen placed very close to the row, and hopefully in a highly efficient manner that the crop makes most use of it before it would get away. The price of nitrogen fertilizer, in fact of all the fertilizer ingredients, it's become very important to try to do all we can to manage each of those nutrients and place it in the most efficient way that we can. And that's what some of these techniques of in-furrow banded with the seed and then dribbled over the row. Of course, this is all no-till farming, and most of what I'll be reporting on will have to do with no-till. And you got to treat it a little bit different with no-till. Got to use materials that match the needs, stabilized nitrogens and those kind of things. And so we're trying to get some of those kind of things